Hey people, how you doing? It's the Bean again. I'm back at you again. Sorry for the delay, but like I said, I'm gonna get this going the way I'm supposed to, and I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to do continuous videos. All right. Okay. I did tell you the makings of a free thinker. Technically, it's not the makings of a free thinker. Is when a person understands that they are free thinkers. We all are. And the thing that we all need to understand is that we as people have to see things in a different way, and then we do our own analyzation of things that come towards us, things that are directed to us, or things that we have to do. And I think that us as a people should try to analyze and come up with our own theory of what that could be or should be, or what we should understand what it's about, even though we might have to do it on our day-to-day basis because of quote unquote, we gotta live in this society to survive. But I'm gonna take you to the next level, right? Rules. Okay. In life, let us just say, right? Do you honestly believe, right, that we are supposed to coexist based off the rules that was taught to us? You understand what I'm saying, right? Rules that were taught to us, right? Was we supposed to go by those rules? Probably for our entire life. Guidelines, steps, ways of being, functioning. It all falls in place of rules. Okay? Now, hear me out where I'm going with this, right? We all, I don't care what type of background or what type of circle you had, we all was introduced to rules. Okay? And the seriousness of that is that we were taught to follow these rules because in our own way it was introduced to us as the way of life. I believe they used several lines about rules. If you follow the rules in life, you will succeed and get ahead in life. Rules are the way to go. The only way you're gonna be able to make it is if you follow the rules that's being introduced to you. I can go on and on and on with these lines, right? But the sad part about it is that none of it's true. Okay. What I mean by none of it is true is that we being introduced to something that, because as an infantile state, we are taught to follow what's being said to us. Yes, we all was. Myself, everybody. So by saying that, you have to understand that at the time you was being taught the steps, the way you had to take what was being said to you, you basically was instructed to do it. And we talking about, you didn't have an opportunity to say no. You didn't have an opportunity to say, I ain't doing that, or rebel to it. No, because the respect is that your teachings was being in certain ways respectful to you. Okay, and hear me out. What I'm going is, I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about entrapment. I'm not talking about abandonment. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. You, as a young person, was taught certain things from any one of the groups you can think of: family, friends, cousins, teachers, the whole nine. You was taught the rules of life. And so by me saying that to you, right, understand now, as we speak, how you see those rules that were taught to you for so many years. Analyze that. When you look at those rules now, right, you have to say to yourself, I wonder, the steps as those rules was applied to me, did it actually show me what I need to know of oneself? I'm going back to self again. I'm not talking about persons, places, and things. No, I'm talking about oneself. Because the crazy thing is that when you follow the way you being instructed, the crazy part is that as you're following, when you're being instructed, there's a limitation towards it. Sometimes it's not, depending on how far you're willing to coexist in that element. And what I mean by that is there's those who go so far as to get to the top. They do the extreme things. We're talking about serious things. And when you look at things that has to be done based off the rules, now, if you know what life means, right, and you understand just that word alone, by you looking at the rules that will apply to you, that so-called you use the basis of a blueprint on how you structured yourself to become who you are today, can you honestly stand there, sit there, and say, you was really freely living? See, this is what I'm telling you. As I'm speaking to you, and I'm asking you to use your mind to think out your past and your present and your nows, I'm not analyzing you. You're going to do it yourself. And by doing that, don't be insecure about it. And be in a place where you're not around nobody. Like, don't create no distractions. Don't answer any phones. Don't do anything other than the fact of you just memorizing the methods, the ways that you instructed yourself to follow when you being taught about the rules and where you stand at today. And after you start to see that, can you honestly say to yourself, you living, you alive, you living life, you fulfilled? Upon you doing that, right? Remember, this is not something that you do in the moment. This is not something that you do in the minute. This is not something you do within 30 minutes or half an hour. No, this is gradual. Like, you have to gradually get yourself to a point where there's days or times, any time of the day, that you have that moment to be to yourself, that you blank out your mind and you go into these kind of memories and you analyze it. Because the serious part about that is that you trying to get answers for yourself about understanding the road you took and what led you where you at now. Because we're being put in so many different situations that, seriously, it's getting to the point where it's not allowing us to even think for ourselves because so many things are happening. So when you see that as you on your daily journeys from day to day, you're gonna take notice that it's like almost like you're sleepwalking, but you're not asleep. You're just walking and constantly doing based off of things that's being brought to your attention, and also how you have to keep yourself relevant because the pattern that you created has to be continuously done. Continuously. So what I'm saying to you is that thinking power is the most beautifulest thing in the world. But when I say thinking power, it's not about thinking about someone. It's about only thinking about oneself. Oneself is you. Because as you do that, remember I told you from the previous video, right? Certain things are going to come up to you in mind and in thought. You're not going to know where that's coming from. But what I said to you was, don't block it out. Don't ignore it. Pay attention to it and think about it and see where it takes you when you're thinking like that. Because the crazy thing that we don't allow ourselves to do, and guess what? It's not part of the rules and the guidelines that were taught to us, is that for some reason we don't follow the things that seem to come to mind when we think about something and it just pops up. We don't. We block it out. We ignore it. Scratch your head and go, what was that? Turn around and go, oh, I don't know. I was off track for 1 minute. And then you go back to your daily rotation. No. That sense of thought came to mind where it actually was telling you something and you were supposed to follow it and think it through so it can actually show you what that was. I mean, the stuff that I'm telling you, remember, I want you to understand this. I haven't told you no authors. I haven't told you no name of any professors. I haven't stated to you, I haven't given you anybody for a suggestion for you to follow. No, I'm only talking to you, okay? And what I'm trying to get you to understand, I'm trying to get you to understand, pay attention to yourself for a moment will be a lesson taught to you about how you really are. See, the crazy part about doing that is that I don't know if y'all understand when a person can correct themselves, but seriously, if you can look at your faults or your mayhem or your dismay or anything that seems to put you in a place where it gives you that moment of this, you're not satisfied, you're not happy. When you decide to sit back and do your own analyzation of that situation or that thought or that mood, you're gonna find out that it's like a trigger. And what I mean by a trigger is similar to like playing with a gun and putting a bullet in it and then pulling the pistol together and now it's live. It's the same thing. You're being triggered to be in those ways. But if you don't allow yourself to be triggered, it could never happen. That means that when you go out and you go do your daily task and you do your routines, right? When your routines are starting to be seen by you as nothing that you can consider to be irrelevant, like if it's not irrelevant, you're going to realize that the important part about life is that when you start to realize if I'm okay and everything else is just irrelevant, you're going to see that certain things that you hold in dear, or let's just say your what you accomplish in life. You're gonna put it to the side because you're gonna realize part of that is not you. What's you is what comes from you, not what you do for you to have something for you. No, it's what comes within. It's what comes within. It's coming into mind, and you're thinking it, and you're reacting on your own thoughts. It's crazy, right? But that's part of the free thinking, because what it does for you is you're gonna find out that when you do that, right, you might stop following the rules that were taught to you, because you're starting to realize, I don't need those rules to exist. I just need oneself. That means I need myself to have understanding about me. And when you start to do that, which it takes time, remember people, this is not something that happens right away. It takes time. It takes time that you decide to choose to do for yourself, that for that moment, when you go and sit down or be in a place where you just not doing anything, and you're allowing yourself to be empty-minded about what you're supposed to do, and you start to think, or you start to feel or respond to how you're thinking or what's coming to mind, you're going to start to realize things as you're doing it on a day-to-day basis. It's going to put you in a place where things that might have, cause you to have an outburst or a moment of laughter or anger, it's not going to happen, because you're going to start to realize that a lot of things that you're doing or what's in front of you that you're reacting to doesn't actually line up with you, with your life, you and your life. Because life with oneself is only about self. And when self start to understand it, then that means everything else is irrelevant, like non-existent, like almost like you saying, what do I care about that? That has nothing to do with me. You're going to start making statements, not to people or anyone, but you're going to start saying it to yourself, because you're going to realize those are the things they put forth in front of you for it to be irrelevant, to keep you what? Functioning off of how they taught you to be when it came to the rules. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is that you taking the time out to have an opportunity to look at your past and your present, right? And the following of your life on where you at today, which you would call it successful, but you have to ask yourself, was that really successful? Because, I don't care what any of y'all say, how you got where you are today, if you didn't look back to see the things that you did, now you being blind to yourself, because that road that you took, you was in direct relations to a functioning person that doesn't feel anything because they're trying to be somebody, and not no time have you gave your thought to yourself to see if, should this be something I'm really supposed to be doing? No, you followed the rules. You followed the rules that was presented to you on how you're supposed to coexist in life. So by saying that, what I'm asking you to do, I'm asking you, is take that moment out of your time and look back at your history. And when you look back at your history, don't look at it like hurtful or painful, or don't really show any emotions when you go back there in that area. Just allow it to come to mind, and then you can analyze it. Analyze it. And like allow yourself to think out each part of it to see where it took you, and if you had the opportunity to function for oneself. Because the crazy part is that life right now is still triggering us to be in a different road. What do I mean by that? Look what we going through today. It's a lot of things that's happening. Remember what I told you. I'm not mentioning no person, places, or things. I'm not going to go into an area where I use a particular thing and that's part of the subject. No, I ask you to check out what's going on today. That means that you have to turn around and say, wow, I see what you mean. Exactly. Because for me to tell you is to fall in place or in relations to applying rules. No, I'm not applying no rules here. I'm actually asking you to take the time out for yourself, to think for yourself. Do you understand what that means? That means you are functioning for yourself. You are thinking out your thoughts for yourself. You are taking the opportunity to look at your history to see exactly how things took place in your life and was a part of you, and was it really something that you could say you was honestly living. Okay? That's what I'm asking you to do. So I'm going to leave you with this thought, right? Okay. Taking the time out to give you that moment for yourself can do wonders for you if you allow it to be a part of the new way that you should function. Why? Because it gives you an opportunity to analyze the things that you're doing and also check out the path and the road that you went down to see if it really has any real history. Real history to yourself, meaning that, was I really functioning like the way I was supposed to? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. And as you're doing it, it takes time. You know, as you're doing it, you answer your own questions. No, I'm not. I really appreciate it that if you don't tell nobody about this, because this is only about you. This is not a conversation for a group of people or a friend or family member. No, this is about oneself. And when it's about oneself, self has to make sure that it understands the things that are going on with self. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with that thought. And oh, by the way, I want you to understand something. Hold on. You see this? Make this a part of your daily regimen. I believe that fruits, all kinds of fruits, not organic, naturally grown, also helps you to be inclined because it's what's coming from the earth. Yeah, oh yeah, we are in relations to the earth. So by you having this in your system, it also helps you to think clearly. So I'm going to leave you with that thought right now. And I'm going to be back shortly with another video. Peace out. The being is spoken.